Okay, so today we're going to look at the results of that test that you took. And here's something that you can do. So I have another copy of this spreadsheet in which I have everyone's name here and what your answers were. And so I have this little code, right, similar to what we talked about. I forgot, okay, I got it wrong. I never knew how to do this, okay. And if you got it wrong, then I put an X and try to put in what happened instead. So you want to make the data anonymous, right? So I have student 1 through whatever. You have to be careful, right, is that you don't want to have them in alphabetical order when you make them anonymous. So I just did them as I corrected them, so I wasn't so worried about that. This gives you a good idea of the relative, how people did. But what you really want to know as a teacher, or you perhaps as a student, is which ones were the most difficult. So if you remember, we had addition facts, and then, so the problems gradually got harder, and then we had multiplication of fractions, division of fractions, multiplication of it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a column. So I highlight column A, and then I do a tap on my touchpad, which is, so there's other ways to do it. So we're going to insert one to the right. Okay, so in this, I'm going to do a formula, and the formula, if you look at it, it's an interesting one. So it's equals count A. So count A says, I want to count how many non-blank cells there are in a certain region. And I want to start, if you look at it, I want to start at C2 for this one. And I want to go all the way over to BC2. So there's BC, so that's the last column. So I say I want to go from C2 to BC2. Okay? And that's all you have to say, so it's kind of nice, right? C2 to BC2. Okay? And it says I didn't find any. Okay? And then as you look at it, you say, well, that doesn't really look very good. So, you say, well, I wonder if I did something wrong. And so maybe I needed to do this. So when I did the comma, it just went to C2 and the cell BC2, but nothing in between. But when I do the colon, notice how it highlights everything in between. Okay? And that's the good thing about the spreadsheet is, you do it wrong, so I did it wrong. And now I say, oh yeah, it's the colon. I need the colon, right? I've done this for, 20 years or so, and I still, forget what to do. So now we do it, and we say there's nothing there. So we've got our formula, and our formula is saying for the row 2, how many non-zero values are there? Okay, how many non-blanks are there? And so then we go down, and you see what happens is that we're finding now that there are some questions where I've noted a lot of problems. Okay. All right, so and it looks like this prime factorization, as you'd expect, a lot of people forgot how to do that. In fact, 29 people didn't remember how to do that or had never been taught how to do it. Okay, so now what do we want to do? Okay. Now what we want to do, well, so first we don't need the column to be so big. Right? So we'll make that column low. Okay, and then we highlight column B and we say, and let's center them, right? And so to center them, go over here and we say, let's put them in the middle. Okay, so there we've got our values. All right, so now what we're going to do is, and if you want, you can give okay, so we'll call this the frequency. Okay, so I'll call it that. And we highlight over in the corner here. So I go to the corner here, and it highlights all the values. Then I say data, sort range. Okay, so we're going to sort our range. Are there headers? Yes, there are, right? So the column I want to sort on is frequency. I want to sort on frequency. Now, A to Z, which way would that sort? That would sort from the ones that nobody had problems with down to the ones that were the hardest. So you say to yourself, no, I want to sort the other direction. So I want to have the biggest numbers on top. And so now we do our sort. And there you see, suddenly you have something very useful. Okay? From teacher's point of view, and maybe even from your studying point of view, is the problem that had the most difficulty for students, how to factor 240 into prime numbers. 0.06 times 0.02. Think about this. Are those numbers both less than 1? So if you have less than 1 and then you get less than 1 whole of that, can it be more than 1? Is there any way that could be 1.2? can't be, right? So that's a good way to think of it. Another way to think of it is 0.2 is what fraction? It's a fifth. So what's a fifth of 6/10? A fifth of 6/10, okay, is 12/100. Okay, division by a fraction. Again, I have half a pi, and I'm dividing it up into 1/4 pieces. How many 1/4 pieces can I get from half a pi? And we'll go on from there. Okay, so your job is to do those two operations on this spreadsheet. Is to do the count A to get, so actually you add the column, then insert the formula, the count A formula, to get how much are in each one, and then sort. All right. So we're trying to build up your skills in this regard.